Hello, hi, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Farooq Loon. Dear students and other viewers, I welcome all of you. And today we have prepositions in English, but we have just three prepositions in, on, and at because they are very basic and we use them frequently for locations and time. The prepositions in, on, and at can be used to indicate time and location. So, as a general rule, you use in when you are not being all specific. You use on if you want to be more specific, and use at when you are being even more specific. So, if you look at this triangle, here we have in, it's for it's general and it's a bigger. Then we have on, it's more specific, it's smaller than in. Then we have at, it is the smallest, very specific. And here at this side, these prepositions are used for these prepositions are used for location, and from this side, these same prepositions are used for time. For example, in is used for countries, cities, neighborhoods. For example, he lives in Srinagar, and on is used for streets, avenues. For example, his shop is on the MA road, and at is used for address specific location. For example, I live at 1231 Kunbal Handwara. Similarly, these prepositions are used for time. For example, at is used for hours. At 7 a.m., at 12 o'clock, I will meet you at 5 p.m. tomorrow. And we have on, it's used for days and weekend. For example, he was born on May 7th, 1964. Then we have in, it's used for centuries. For example, British ruled India in our 18th century, and decades also. For example, 80s. I like 80s. I was born in 80s. Years 1970, 99, 2020. Months January, July, May. He will come in May or in the month of May. Weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We can go on and on. We use in if you mention just a year or a month by itself. For example, I was born in 1982. We bought the teddy bear in January. Here is a more example why to use in. I'm going to Argentina in December. I'm not going to Argentina in December. This is just a wish, a dream. Hope it comes true someday. But use on with specific dates. For example, I was born on the 1st of November 1982. This is just a borrowed image. And use on with days of the week. For example, I'll see you on Monday. There's also a difference between in and at when we talk about locations. We generally use in with countries, states, cities, and towns. For example, I live in Handwara town. I live in Kashmir for a state, or you can say country. I live in India. He lives in Pakistan. They live in Bangladesh. You can go on and on. So here in these situations we use preposition in. This is especially true when the name of the country is an important detail, or when it has some personal significance. Use in. For example, made in China, made in Italy, made in Pakistan, made in India, made in Kashmir. But when we refer to a country, state, city, town, etc., as just a point, for example, a point along a journey, we use at instead of in. Sorry, I won't be moving cursor because I'm afraid it leads me to some weird places on my screen. In such cases, the use of at, see at the bottom of this map, in such cases, the use of at shows the location has no personal significance for us. It's just a point to which we are referring. Notes the difference between at Brooklyn and in Brooklyn in the following two examples. In the left side of your screen, we have one example, the bus stops at Brooklyn, and in the right side of your screen, there's a boy in the picture. I live in Brooklyn. So in the first sentence, Brooklyn is purely a point along a journey without any personal significance. And in the second example, like you see in the right side of your screen, the youth uses in because for him Brooklyn isn't just a point along a journey. It has a personal significance. It's where he lives. It's his town. Let's move further. Often in means inside a closed space. Example is here. The boy is in the classroom. But you can use at if you just want to refer to the area surrounding a building. For example, I will meet you at the library. I will meet you at the office. So anything that surrounds that area, you use at, whether it's a playground, whether that's a lawn, whether that's a backyard, anything that surrounds that building, you use at there. And you use in if you want to be more specific, actually mean inside the building. For example, I will wait for you in the library. He will wait for me in the shop. They will meet in the office, etc. Now it's your turn. Which preposition should you use here? You have to use either at or in the sentence below. Look at the sentence below the picture. We had to wait dash Auckland airport for 2 hours. Think and say what will come at. So that's it. We had to wait at Auckland airport for 2 hours because the airport as a location is personally important. It's just a point along a journey. What about this example? The cat is dash the dryer. It is an enclosed space. It's inside the dryer. So what do you think will come here in the dash? That's right. We use in to refer to an enclosed space. The cat is in the dryer. Now let's talk about transport. As a general rule, use on when you are referring to a public or commercial transport, but use in when you are referring to only public transport. So there is a difference between public or commercial transport and public transport only. For example, you use in with these vehicles, for example, taxis, cars, vans. He is in the car, or I am in the car. And you use on with these types of transport. For example, trains, planes, boats, on seas, on the boat. I travel on the bus, not in the bus. If you sit on the exterior part of a vehicle or an animal, you use on. Look at this old man. This old man is on his bicycle, so use on because he sits on the exterior part of a vehicle. And see at this old lady. This old lady is on her motorbike. Dora is on her horse. And now it's turn to test our knowledge. Complete the phrase with either in or on. I'm going dash the plane to Mexico. What do you think will come here in the dash? And see this example also. It's another example to test your knowledge. The man is dash his tractor. So use an appropriate preposition here. Also here, children get dash the car. So hopefully you said I'm going on the plane to Mexico. The man is on his tractor. Children get in the car. A little more about the preposition at. We often use at with names of group activities. For example, I'm at the theater. Unless we are participants in the group activity, then we use in. I am in the theater. This can mean either I participate in theater productions, etc., or I am inside the theater building. So this means that we often use at when we are more interested in the activity that is developing than in the location itself. For example, I study at Oxford, referring to a university here. Notes the difference between in Oxford, that's the city, and at Oxford, the university. Look at your screen. In the left side is a picture and an example. I live in Oxford, and at the right side of your screen, I study at Oxford. The first example focuses more on the location, that's the city, while the second example focuses more on the activity that happens there. So it is for study purposes there. I study at Oxford. Another use of at is to give a specific address. For example, I live at 1231 Kunbal Handwara. He lives at 321 Main Street. And at is used with a number of set phrases. For example, I am at home, he is at work, they are at school, we are at mosque. Now we are going to talk a bit more about the preposition on. So where to use on? Use on with streets when we are not referring to a specific address. For example, I live on the main street. And use on when something is touching a surface. For example, look at this rabbit. Their surfaces touch with each other. Rabbits and the surface of the table. So you say the rabbit is on the table. Look at this. One more example for you. The Mona Lisa is on the wall. So Mona Lisa, and it's not the lady actually, it's the painting of Mona Lisa, and the surface of the wall touches with the surface of the painting of Mona Lisa. So you use on there. Use on if something is near or touching a line on a map, like a border, river, highway, etc. The example is there. San Juan is on the border of Nicaragua and Costa Rica. San Juan is on the border of Nicaragua and Costa Rica. So you use on here. But sometimes the difference between at, in, and on isn't clear. This is because sometimes the choice is up to you, but remember, the meaning may change depending on which preposition you choose. For example, at may refer to a general location, while in or the preposition on would be more specific. So at may refer to general location here in such cases, in and on for more specific. Well, the example below using in is specific, referring to being in an enclosed space at a school. For example, the boy is in the classroom because it is an enclosed space. We could also use at to refer to being at the same school, but this would be less specific. For example, the girl is at school, so it doesn't matter where exactly. It can be playground, it can be a garden, it can be a lawn, or anywhere that surrounds the school. It can be canteen also. That's to say that often the difference is just a nuance, and both prepositions are more or less interchangeable. So it depends upon you which preposition to use. It's up to you actually. Look at these two examples below this picture. I will meet you at the cafe. That's a general location. And example 2 is I'll meet you in the cafe. So this is more specific. It's inside a building. At the cafe may be somewhere else. It can be on the road. It can be at the door of the cafe. It can be on the terrace of the cafe. But here, if I will meet you in the cafe, it's more specific. It's actually an enclosed space inside the building. To conclude, one example that presents a particular challenge for learners of English is when they want to talk about people attending a meeting. Should they say that someone is in a meeting, or should they say that someone is in a meeting? To tell the truth, very often both work just fine. For example, sorry, Mr. Lone is in a meeting. Or you can say, sorry, Mr. Lone is at a meeting. So what's the difference? Often the difference is purely regional, which means that you can usually use at a meeting or in a meeting interchangeably with no problem. So आपकी मर्जी है, at a meeting इस्तेमाल करो या in a meeting. They are same but they are different. Your choice, however, may also communicate something a little extra. इससे एक extra knowledge भी मिलती है कि in a meeting और at a meeting क्या बताता है. In a meeting can mean that a person is participating in a meeting in a very same building, but at a meeting is adding information. It can mean that the person is attending a meeting at another location. perhaps another office on the other side of town. It's also possible that at a meeting means that the person is only attending the meeting but not participating. So this is how a little difference creeps in between in a meeting and at a meeting. So we could go on and on about the prepositions in, at, and on, but this is all for today's lesson. Keep the good work up. Thank you. I'm Farooq Lone. I will soon meet you with some new stuff in English. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz. But before taking leave from you, refresh yourself with these images. Take care. Allah Hafiz.